this population is not represented, and as long as those few who are there are not united, this problem will not go away. It is the first domino. It is not the first time. It's only the beginning.
So by this,
the problem is not Sacramento. The problem is on the home front. It is a cultural difference. I've heard this too many times. 不要搞政治，那是黑暗的. That is normal in a society where nobody has the right to vote and decision is made by a few. Centralized decision making has its advantages and disadvantages. But people who are used to that coming here, they don't want to get involved. So as long as the parents are disengaged, they don't matter. And they will respond to crises like this every time. This will be a wildfire that will go off anytime there's an opportunity. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, you know that your comment was just right on, because six years ago, when we fought SCA 5, we won the battle, we beat it back. But at the time, you know, we predicted and have been telling our many friends that SCA 5 will return one day. Once the other side gets the chance, it will happen. And this year it happened, you know, in the form of ACA 5 that passed out of the Assembly and the Senate floor in a very quick manner. And then it became Prop 16. And that is on the ballot this year on November 3rd. So thank you for your sharing. And then are you staying with us, Andrew? So
yes, I am.
Okay, just in case people have a question at the end of the presentation,
sure.
You can ask a question. So Bob?
Yeah, let me just say one quick thing before I bring Tim on, Tim Shaw. But your comments about the legislature is spot on, and they have their own agenda. And it's not reflected by the people of California. Nationwide, a poll was done, and 2/3 of the people didn't really like affirmative action. That was 2018. We've had 2 polls in the last few weeks that have demonstrated that it's a similar number here. There's only like, 31 and 33% of the 2 polls that supported Prop 16. That's a big gap. But when you look at the no party preference, the undecided, there's enough there to get them over the finish line. And our problem is running the no campaign is we don't have enough resources to really get our message out in a way to balance 1-to-1. In fact, it's more like a 10-to-1 advantage the other side has over the no side. So this is something that we need to just be telling our neighbors, friends, whatever else. And we don't want them to be spinning their side without an answer on our side as to why it's nuts. But thank you, Andrew, for joining us. Next up is Tim Shaw. And Tim's a council member in his home city of La Habra, born and raised there, who is also elected to the Orange County Board of Education. While serving in these 2 elected boards, Tim also sits on the board of Orange County Transportation Authority and Orange County Sanitation Districts. He cleans up after us, you might say. But I got to know Tim over the years as he was my district director while I was in the State Assembly and State Senate. And he's got his own vested interest in Prop 16. He's got 6 young boys that are going to be looking to get into a college of their choice, hopefully. And if Asians are discriminated against, whites have been discriminated against for many years now, and you're looking at higher education. But we don't complain about that. We know there's some historic things to get rebalanced, but there is this question about how much is enough. But Tim, thanks for joining us today. What have you got to say on Prop 16?
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. I want to start by thanking May and Bob for their great leadership on this issue and really being just the examples, the stalwarts, the leaders we really need in California. So thank you both. What I would have to say, Bob, is I've thought about this issue and, my new role in serving on the Orange County Board of Education. And we look over, kindergarten through 12th graders and throughout Orange County, and just the message that it sends to young people that working hard, doing your homework, doing good on your exams, studying, getting good grades, that's not what's important for you to get into the good schools. And what an unbelievable message that is. That might not be the intended message, from the other side, but it is the message that you're going to get into the good universities, you're going to get ahead, not based on how hard you're working, but based on your race, your gender, your some other factor that you had no control over. So that is fundamentally why I oppose Prop 16 and any effort along those lines. I should mention, I don't know if I had mentioned to you guys previously, on October 7th, the Orange County Board of Education will be considering a resolution on Prop 16. And if I know my colleagues like I think I do, I expect we are going to be formally opposing Prop 16 come the meeting on October 7th. So I'm really excited about that. One thing people, we should think about too, I love the example of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas and the things he's written about in books and examples from his life. Of course, Clarence Thomas himself, an African-American, grew up decades ago. He went to Yale Law School, probably the top law school in the country. And he writes about how when he gets out of Yale Law School, goes out there into the workforce trying to get a job, no one wanted to hire him. And he felt like, what's going on here, right? I've got a Yale law degree. Shouldn't they be banging down my door to offer me a job? But he kind of came to realize at that time, of course, decades ago, there was affirmative action going on. And he realized employers looked at him and his resume, and whether it was written there or not, there's an asterisk next on his resume. Well, you were the person who went to Yale Law School on the affirmative action program. They let you slide through. They let you be just you were on Easy Street because they needed a black student to get in there. And whether it's intended or not, by having racial preferences, you put an asterisk next to the resume of all those applicants of color, because people are going to look at them and think, well, you didn't really earn it. You have to study hard. You didn't have to get good grades. You just were on Easy Street with the race-based preferences. So it's very interesting coming from him and his experience, where he says the worst thing that could have happened to him was having affirmative action, because he felt like, hey, I earned it. I worked hard. I got good grades. I studied hard. And you cheapen that achievement by making everyone assume you just got it because of your race. So I think it's maybe not intended, again, to harm the people of color, but it does harm them. And the only way we get to the society that we should have in the United States is by treating everyone, regardless of their race, is on an equal footing. Of course, we have difficult history in the United States, and California specifically, with different questions of race. But the remedy, the answer is to not continue to treat people in the modern era differently based on their race. That is the wrong approach to our difficult history. So I would hope for my kids going forward, and the message I can share with them when they're applying to go to a good university, is you're going to get in or not based on what your GPA looked like, what were your test scores, what were your achievements, not on some factor that we can't control. So that's sort of my message, and I would hope, and I think that's what would resonate with most of the voters of California. The fair approach is just let everyone compete equally, regardless of those things that we can't control.
Thank you, Tim. Your comments are spot on, and you remind me of something that we talked about 6 years ago on the SCA 5 battle, and that this stirs up the soft bigotry of low expectations. And that really encapsulated it. I mean, you have Clarence Thomas going to one of the top law schools, and he doesn't get credit for it because of the color of the skin. And I know they're making decisions of color of skin, whether or not applied to him or not. He gets painted with that same brush, as will our California top Latino and Black students, because they will all be lumped into that. And we will continue to perpetuate this soft bigotry of low expectations. Expect excellence, you'll get excellence. It doesn't work the other way around. Thanks, Tim. Appreciate you joining us. I know you got a lot of things on your plate. You've got an election coming up for yourself next month too, right?
I do. November 3rd, La Habra City Council. It's been doing it for 12 years. Thanks to your great help, I got in the first place, and up for re-election again this year.
Well, you're doing a great job, Tim. Thank you for serving the community. And actually, in your regional jobs, you're serving all of Orange County.
My pleasure.
Yep. Okay. Well, I think we're time for you to do wrap up. We're already at 2:32, so if you can keep it brief. I don't know what you're going to be saying, but I'll listen intently.
各位朋友们，大家好。很感谢各位朋友们今天来参加我们每周二下午2点钟的这个网上会议。我们谈的议题是16号提案啊。那刚才我们听到这个 Andrew Young 跟这个 Tim Sha 给我们的分享，我想要讲的是这样子 ，OK？ 我决定呢，就是说我会写一段这个你知道吗的一个系列的分享 ，OK？ 那因为呢，很多的朋友们也许已经放弃了，认为说我们可能没有办法赢得这一场这个战役啊，我们会输掉这个16号提案的这么一场战争。但是呢，我想要跟朋友们讲的，就是在9月份里面出来了2份的那个民调。民调里面显示呢，其实在16号提案方面呢，反对这个16号提案的一个是伯克利大学，它是41%反对，另外一个叫做 PPIC 加州的这个公众的一个平台呢，他们的民调显示有47%，记得是47%的这个的选民们会反对16号提案哦。那当然我想要表达的意思就是说，我们不要因为说我们现在目前好像是领先，我们就安全了，其实我们还不安全了。因为呢，在这个提案的这个投票的结果里面呢，我们一定要赢得50%加1票，我们才能够安心 ，OK？ 那安心以后呢，可以为我们买来多长时间的这个平安呢？这个是没有办法预测的。但是如果我们不赢的话呢，赢不了的话呢，我们可能面对的这个对我们社区的不良影响可能是几个世代的啊。因为要看一下，我们在1996年通过了209号提案呢，对于我们的华人跟亚裔社区呢，提供了很大的这个，我们是最大的这个受益群体 ，OK？ 那但是在加州的政治的生态里面呢，刚才 Andrew 有提到，我们现在的政治生态呢，已经是十分的不平衡了。对方呢是超级多数，今年他们有这个机会来以修宪的方式呢，来推翻在1996年通过的这个提案。所以各位朋友们要想想看，如果他们这个赢的话，意思就是说投票的人是支持这个修改宪法的话呢，那我们可能几个世代都没有办法平反。那没有办法平反的话呢，不是只有表现在公共的这个教育、政府的合同跟政府的这个就业 ，OK？ 很快的就会像在教育一样 ，OK？我们在其他的这个私营的企业里面也会看到这样的现象。那我们各位朋友们可以想想看啊，如果您的企业里面现在被要求到一定要按照人种的这个人种、肤色、国籍的因素来做雇用的这个因素的时候，我们要怎么样子应付呢？第一点，第二点，现在在这个新冠肺炎病毒的情形之下呢，有很多的华人呢，希望能够得到政府的合同，可以提供譬如说口罩啊，还有这个手套啊，其他 PPE 等的这一些用品啊。但是有没有想到呢？现在政府合同里面，我们到底是占有多少的百分比？如果是超过15%的话，那就是大于我们的整个人口比率 ，OK？ 但是如果说这个16号提案通过的话呢，那我们是不是能够争取到政府合同，或是在政府里面就业的情形呢，也会受到影响？所以